Better late than never is my motto these days. So it's like a really bad time to be a co-op gamer. Like, the top 2 co-op genre titans have kind of decided to self-destruct with their 3rd iteration in their series. At this point, I think if the new Doom 3 is bad, I'm just giving up as a gamer. It'll mean that I've lost everything that I've held near and dear to me in the video game industry. The 2 games I'm talking about are Payday 3, It's a Me video, and the one mentioned in the title. Because the Killing Floor 3 beta sucked. Like, really bad. It pains me a lot to make this video. I loved Killing Floor 1, maybe not as much as some people, but I really liked it. I didn't play it a whole lot, but it was a fantastic time the bit that I did. When Killing Floor 2 came out, I had it within a month of early access release, and it was genuinely a unique and fun game. I still don't think I've played anything that really compares to Killing Floor, from the ease of just picking up and playing a game, to the diversity of the gameplay. How do you even describe Killing Floor? It's a zombies multiplayer co-op gore shooter where you run around a unique-looking map and fight waves of bioengineered enemies of increasing difficulty until you get to a boss wave and defeat them or die trying. I think that about sums it up. Honestly, Killing Floor is one of a kind. It's got unique features like infinitely recharging heals in your pocket, ammo respawning around the map so you get to enjoy it as a horde shooter more than anything else, and a vast variety of weapons so you can get more out of a class than just one incredibly linear match. You will see very soon why I'm mentioning all of these things specifically for Killing Floor 1 and 2. Before we get too deep, I'm not telling you to hate this game. This video is a warning as someone who was near the front of the Payday 3 hype train back in September of 2023. Even before that, actually. Back when I was doing the Payday 2 achievement series, which is still running. You're allowed to like this game, but I'm here to tell you why all the signs are pointing towards bad, especially the language being used by the community. Just about everything is almost identical to how the Payday 3 beta went. If the launch goes poorly, I think the game is doomed, just like Payday 3. I'm seeing people say they're enjoying the game, and things will get better, it's just a beta, but we've already seen this before with Payday 3's beta. Honestly, I can show you this is pretty much an identical situation. I was going to try to not read the script, but I'm just going to read it off the script, I'm sorry, I had no eye contact for you. I'm just really annoyed that the development team decided to change a core system that wasn't really broken, in favor of something far more attrition-based. I'm also annoyed that this game feels like every other game, because they decided to use Unreal Engine and incorporate advanced movement like sliding and mantling. It's also disappointing that they decided it wasn't important to include enemy types from the previous title, or that it wasn't enough of a priority to make it into the game yet. I'm also not happy that the combat system has been simplified so much that there's little to no diversity, resulting in a huge lack of replayability. It's crazy, because I know this dev team is capable of doing a pretty good job at making a fun game, but it's like some executives must have meddled in the creation of the game or something. Now, to be a bit more genuine, I'm going to go over some issues I and some of the community have with the game, but the final conclusion here is going to be about the game as a whole. So here are some things I hated about the Killing Floor 3 beta. First of all, gunplay felt stinky. I played Commando and Firebug for the most part, and the gunplay on both of those was not fun. From what I've seen, Firebug is like the worst class, and so I liked it in Killing Floor 2, tried it in 3, and it's really bad. It was really, really bad. Characters have been executed, like including Foster, who was my favorite character. They just don't speak, and when they do, it's the most unfunny thing you've ever heard. Like, I'm reloading! I'm putting a new clip in! You know, like basic stuff like that. Or sometimes you don't even know what they're saying at all. In my opinion, gotta throw that out there. I think the art design is butt ugly for a game like this because everything looks exactly the same. It's almost impossible to acquire targets at a glance, so it results in a Scrake grabbing you out of nowhere or a Gorefast getting a really cheeky hit on you because it just looked like a clot. I don't know if I'm the only one having that issue, but everything looks so similar I couldn't deal with any target acquisition. Like, the whole point of games like Killing Floor or horde shooters in general is being able to prioritize your targets. I can't do that in this game because everything looks the same fleshy, disgusting color. This next bit comes from my friend Nanner. Go check out his YouTube channel, and he just made a game recently, so go check it out in the description. It's free. I've played it. It's fun. It's one of those, like, it's a game kind of like Bennett Cauldron Boy getting over it. I'm in agreement with most of what he said here, so I'm just gonna go with this. These are mostly his words. Killing Floor 3 is a brainless imitation of Call of Duty style gameplay, and this is me saying even more so than Payday 3. If the game was good, we could look past the design flaws, but this game is for the least common denominator of gamer. It's overly simple, with the same slop game design of every other modern FPS game, now that it has removed everything that made it unique in Killing Floor 2. The fact that it looks like we also have minimal content on release is going to just make things feel even worse. Wait. Do you guys hear that? I think it's time for a damage break! So this part's completely unscripted because I just didn't even know what to do here. I'm gonna just throw this graphic up right on the screen here. What is that? This game decided it was a good idea to add 1,000,000 damage types. Now, this was something that was in Killing Floor 2, but it was pretty basic in Killing Floor 2. It was pretty simple stuff, almost like rock, paper, scissors. Rex, if you're watching, I got that from you. Thanks, Rex. He's one of the lead developers on Raid World War 2, which is actually getting good updates now. But he said it should be simple, like rock, paper, scissors. That's not what this is. This is like rock, paper, scissors, except you're throwing in every single D&D class. And on top of that, you're also throwing in guns, nuclear bombs, a pair of scissors. Wait, there's already scissors in rock, paper, scissors. Like a shook-up soda can as like some sort of explosive device, and C4. And you gotta remember what everything does to everything else, because everything is good against something, weak against something else, and just mid against everything else. So like, just taking a look at this damage chart here, this is insane. This is like RPG levels of insane. This is, let me count it real quick. There is actually more damage types in Killing Floor 3 than there are in RuneScape. Like, I only gotta worry about 3 types of melee, 3 types of range, and magic. That's nuts. That's actually insane. I just came to this conclusion right now, and I cannot believe it. But like, look at some of these things. Ballistic damage is neutral to flesh and Zed tech, and ineffective to armor and mire hit zones while inflicting knockdown, stumble, and stun. Like, this is how it's presented to you, by the way. I took this information from in the game. It pops up one at a time, though. Someone from Reddit put this together. Thank you very much. I'm not trying to be really over the top and bombastic here, but this just does not make sense to me at all. Something simple, rock, paper, scissors. Flesh pounds are weak to being blown up. Skrakes are weak to bullets. That's how Killing Floor 2 was. It was pretty simple. I think there was some more stuff added a little later down the line, but good rule of thumb. That was all it was. If something went boom, hit a flesh pound with it. If something went pew pew pew, Skrake. It never even explains what like mire and flesh and Zed tech is. Like, I can probably make those assumptions just as the player, but can you map it out for me? Can you give me a more fleshed out tutorial maybe? It just felt really weird. Maybe this is just a beta thing and it'll be fixed in the actual game, but holy moly. You can probably tell I was not a fan of damage types. But right now I want to go over my unique lens on the situation. For anybody new to the channel, subscribe. Gotcha. Gotcha. Now you have to do it. For anybody new to the channel, I typically play Payday. I've seen the rise and fall of Payday twice at this point, and you want to know what killed it every time? Corporate greed and mismanagement. Guess who's at the tippy top of both Payday 3 and Killing Floor 3? That would be Embracer Group. Here's the Steam player count for Payday 3. That's not everybody. That's like console carries the market for Payday 3, but that's not a good number. I want you guys to know that when Killing Floor 3 sucks, and I do think it will suck based off this beta, consider blaming the executives. You can tell the developers were trying to innovate things here, but they just didn't have the resources or time. Very similar thing has happened with Payday 3, it seems. They tried to innovate, change some things, and they didn't have the resources to do it. And that's probably due to mismanagement in both situations. What I'm saying is don't hate on the Tripwire developers for this. Okay? It's probably not their fault. They're just passionate devs, they're trying to do their job. It's like getting mad at the cashier at McDonald's that the price of the burger is too much, you know? It's not his fault. He's just here to get paid and do his job and go home. And try not to cry himself to sleep. It doesn't work. Do you think the devs want to put out a bad game? Like genuinely, do you think the devs want to put out a bad game? I really would like to hear what people have to say about this. Tell me below. Do you think the devs want to put out a bad game? Because I don't think they want to put out a bad game. I know the Starbreeze devs don't want to put out a bad game, because if the game sucks, they're out of a job. Now, I'm going to save you the time on another Payday 3 comparison. We're just going to go over some Killing Floor 3 examples of where I think resources were mismanaged and they tried to innovate but nothing happened. For example, I saw a lot in Killing Floor 3. They have a unique destruction when a big enemy hits a doorway. It's pretty cool looking, but it's the same exact break every time. It never matters, it doesn't affect anything, nothing. They kind of had this in Killing Floor 2, and it seemed like they maybe tried to innovate on it a little bit, but in Killing Floor 2 we could weld doors, in Killing Floor 3 we can't even do that. You probably could have used some more time. The enemies have some new abilities, like the Skrake can pull you in out of nowhere, but the animations look like really bad, and the feedback on them sucks really bad. So it takes you out of the game when it happens. Every time I got pulled by a Skrake, it was like it was pulling me out of the game, immersion-wise. There were some times where I would be having just a little bit of fun with the gameplay, because the gameplay's passable, and then that Skrake would pull me and I'd be like, that felt weird. That felt weird. I think more time to cook on that would have been awesome. Take a look at the trader HUD in the menus. They're extremely bare bones. I think another few passes over this would probably have been very nice for, you know, it would have looked maybe like Killing Floor 2's HUD, which is unique, interesting, and informative, which Killing Floor 3's is not any of those things. Now this is a beta. It's maybe subject to change, but we thought Payday 3's HUD was a beta HUD, and it turned out to be the actual HUD. So we're less than a month out from Killing Floor 3 coming out, so that's probably the HUD we're getting, is what I'm trying to say. What you see is what you probably are getting. That's it. I feel like I've kind of rambled on for a while now. It's pretty clear that I was not a big fan of the Killing Floor 3 beta. But the most important thing I want to say is that I think this is just a rehash of what we saw with the Payday 3 beta. Except this time, I'm on the majority side. It feels weird to be on this side of history this time, because I was a huge fan of Payday 3 and I liked all the changes. Apparently, a lot of people did not like that. That's okay. Some of the other Starbreeze partners have played Killing Floor 3 and are actually having a great time with it. I want them to know it's not gonna be easy. It's very hard being on that side of things, so my heart goes out to you guys. Good luck, keep having fun with the game, and my only advice is to ignore people. Just have fun. But anyway, I digress. I think the game's stinky. I think I almost said the Payday 3 beta was stinky. I think the Killing Floor 3 beta was pretty stinky. There's clearly going to be some quality issues going forward. If there are content issues, like I think there's going to be, then I think the game is doomed and not even worth my time. If you don't believe me, I am quite literally partnered with the other game that it happened to, so I clearly care and know about everything that's happening. But, you know, maybe Killing Floor 3 will surprise us. Just like we thought Payday 3 was going to surprise us after the beta. So, here's hoping.